Famous Yokai Watch YouTuber Junamon has attempted to beat Yokai Watch 2 with only one Static King, and failed. To be fair though, it's pretty much impossible to beat Yokai Watch 2 with only a single yokai, due to Dame Dead Time's level steal move. But what about the first game? Would a solo run be possible in Yokai Watch 1? Probably not. Yokai Watch 1 bosses spam in spirit like there's no tomorrow, especially debuffs like stunning, confusion, and stinging. Your lone fighter would get overwhelmed really quickly. As a matter of fact, the final boss of the game, Kraken, has the most nasty debuff combo imaginable, consisting of confusion and defense drops, and considering how much he spams those in spirits, this will just not be possible. Although there is a solution for this. There are two skills in the game that prevent a yokai from being inspirited, those being Miraculous Scales, which is held by the Enderfly line, and Matchless Shell, which is held by Spenp and Almi. So if any yokai would have the chance of beating the game solo, it would be one of those guys. I decided to go with Spenp because he is the most iconic and one of my personal favorites. So let's see if Spenp can solo all of Yokai Watch. I had to start in chapter 2 to save edit in Spenp because I think the game would break if I add Spenp before I'm supposed to have any yokai. This was the first time I used a save editor, by the way, and the Yokai Watch 1 save editor is so buggy. Even though I click save, it sometimes just doesn't save. I eventually did it though, and in case you're wondering why he's dead, I don't know. After a quick trip to the Necromancer, I leveled up my Spenp, which I named Dollar, to level 99. I gave him a rough attitude and maxed out his attacks. In case you're wondering why I made Dollar a physical attacker, even though Spenp naturally has a higher spirit stat and a better technique, a lot of mandatory battles have yokai that resist wind damage. That, and I love the mental image of Spenp just chomping through everything in the game. I also spent way too much time befriending a bunch of burner yokai to get rid of auto befriends. But with all of that out of the way, the challenge can finally start. I first had to beat up a bunch of roughrafts, and then it was up to the divorce milkshake. You by the way can't initiate the battle when you don't have Jabani in your team, so I just banished him to the back of the wheel, which I deem as perfectly legit. But yeah, this Morella was really easy and took only 3 hits to go down. Chapter 3 included me needing to beat up a bunch of gangsters who wanted to break a giant piggy bank or something, with one of them being Slamamander, our first proper boss, who was unsurprisingly easy. In chapter 4 I had to beat Baku, get through Terror Time without being spotted, and fight Sproing, who is already probably the easiest boss in the game, and with a level 99 yokai he was made only easier. Chapter 5 only had the SV Snaggerjack boss fight as a mandatory battle, and I managed to shred through his health pretty quickly. Chapter 6 doesn't have any mandatory battles, but in chapter 7 I had to beat up the guys for the C rank quest, and then I went to this chapter's boss, Massive Face. He was the first one who was able to make a dent in Dollar's HP, but it wasn't enough to save him. In chapter 8 I beat up the B rank quest yokai and also beat up the A rank yokai while I was at it. Then I taught Dollar some sick moves. I went to fight Springtrap FNAF in the back room of an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Also, Dollar was just using his technique over and over again, which kinda pissed me off. No! Dollar, stop! What the? Dollar, stop! Oh my god! Dollar! What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, come on. If you would have chomped, he would have been dead already. But no. But no. Nice. Now kill him. Thank you. Sheesh. In chapter 9 I had to fight the average Australian house spider. And, by the way, Tarantuder, definitely my least favorite boss yokai in at least Yokai Watch 1. She is so annoying. You have to kill off all of her 4 legs so that you get a very brief time window where you can directly attack her. And she has so much HP, not just herself by the way, her legs also have a bunch of HP, so it takes forever until you get her down, and then you can only deal so little damage because of her massive bulk. This is also the first time I had to bring out healing items, but not because this fight was so hard, just because it took so incredibly long. Chapter 10 once again only had a single mandatory fight, and that was against Dr. Madaman. He's already kind of disappointing in the base game, considering how late he is and how simple he is. The only attack he really has that is threatening is his poison move, but Spenp can't get poisoned, so yeah. Chapter 11 was the final chapter and had a few more mandatory fights for a change. First was the Venoct fight, which went flawlessly, mainly because he kinda locked himself into his ultimate. Next up was the McCracken fight, which was actually really fun. although a bit easy, but to be fair I kinda was spamming with items here. I also discovered here that McCracken is rich, and I somehow broke his ultimate. I have no clue what happened here. But yeah, the fight was fun, pretty easy, everything went well. Next up was the Slamamander rematch, which is honestly not very memorable. Then I had to fight McCracken's whitewashed goons. Impasse and Roland were pretty easy, but the Brofs were giving me some issues. They did a lot of damage and could also reflect attacks using their revenge skill. This was actually the closest I think I've ever gotten to the run ending. But with all of those guys out of the way, I can now finally fight the final boss of the game, Mega Squiddle Man. And that spells the end for this video. I think this is actually the fastest I have ever beaten the main story of Yokai Watch. I was expecting the final fight to be a bit more difficult. To be fair, I don't know why I thought that. McCracken's whole thing in the second phases is that he spams in spirits, and it just doesn't work on Spenp. So yeah, you definitely can beat Yokai Watch 1 using only Spenp. So I'm pretty sure you can also beat it only using Almi, considering that Almi is basically just a better version of Spenp. I'm not too sure about the Enterfly guys though. If someone wants to try that, be my guest. Tag me in it. Also sorry that I just haven't been uploading in like 6 months or something. I just didn't have a lot of time and was very demotivated. But I'm trying to upload a bit more now. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm also gonna stream more. So subscribe so you don't miss that, I guess.